Once upon a time, a carpenter named Ali Baba lived with his wife in a forest in the Middle East. Ali Baba collected wood every day to sell. Ali Baba did not earn very much money, but did the best he could to provide for his family. One day, while collecting wood, Ali Baba heard the sound of many horses approaching. He tied up his donkey and hid behind a tree. Ali Baba then saw 40 men on horses stop and unload bags of gold coins and treasures. Ali Baba realized this group must be thieves. Just then, one of the men moved towards a large rock and started to shout, "Open sesame!" Suddenly, the large rock moved and revealed a cave. All the thieves loaded their bags into the cave. The rock closed over the cave opening after the thieves left their bags of treasure. The leader yelled, "Close sesame!" and the rock sealed the opening. The thieves left and Ali Baba could not believe what he had just seen. He ran over to the rock and yelled, "Open sesame!" The rock opened to reveal the cave. Ali Baba crept into the cave and was overwhelmed when he saw all the gold coins and treasures in the cave. He filled 3 bags and ran out of the cave. Just like the thief, Ali Baba shouted, "Close sesame!" The rock sealed the cave. Ali Baba loaded up his donkey and headed home to surprise his wife with all the treasures. His wife could not believe it. Ali Baba told her the whole story about the thieves and the cave. His wife wanted to see how much money they had. Ali Baba suggested they bury their newfound treasures. Ali Baba's wife agreed, but knew they needed to count the gold coins with a money cup first. She told Ali Baba they should borrow a money cup from his rich brother Kasim. Ali Baba warned his wife not to say a word about the treasure to anyone. Despite his warning, Ali Baba's wife secretly went to his brother Kasim's mansion and asked to borrow the money cup. Kasim lent her the cup but was suspicious, as he knew Ali Baba had no gold. He was just a poor carpenter. He secretly found out when Ali Baba's wife returned the cup that she had used it to measure gold. When Kasim found this out, he confronted Ali Baba. Ali Baba told his brother the whole story and made him promise not to speak a word of this to anyone. Kasim snuck out from his home in the night and went to the treasure cave. He shouted, "Open sesame!" And to his surprise, he saw all the treasures stacked inside. He filled many bags to load onto his donkeys. When he turned to leave, the cave door had slammed shut. Kasim could not remember what the words were to open the rock door. Just then, the 40 thieves arrived and found Kasim with the bags. They killed Kasim. Kasim's wife was worried when her husband disappeared. So she went to Ali Baba. Ali Baba knew where to look, and he visited the cave. Ali Baba found his dead brother. He told Kasim's wife about what had happened and offered to help her run his rich brother's business. Ali Baba and his wife moved into the mansion and helped Kasim's wife. Meanwhile, the thieves still wanted to find that treasure that had been stolen from their cave. They heard stories of a wealthy man, Ali Baba. The leader of the thieves devised a plan to sneak his thieves into the mansion, hidden away in olive oil barrels that he would sell to Ali Baba. His plan worked. But while Ali Baba and the thief were talking, Kasim's wife discovered the hidden thieves. She poured hot boiling oil into each barrel, and all the thieves died. The leader of the thieves was so scared, he ran out of the castle, never to return again. Ali Baba and his family lived a prosperous and happy life forever. Once upon a time, there was a man and his wife that had wanted a baby for so long, but had never had one. One day, the wife gave her husband the awesome news that they had waited so long for. They were going to have a baby. They lived in a house overlooking a big garden full of fresh vegetables and flowers. Sadly, the garden was protected by a high wall with barbed wire on the top. The mighty witch who lived there wanted no one in her garden. Everyone was very scared of the mighty witch. One day, the wife was so hungry for the fresh radishes. She saw them growing in the witch's garden, but she knew she could not have them. Although she really, really wanted them, she thought she might die if she did not have them. Her husband worried so much about her. She told him, "I think I will die unless I can have some of those radishes that grow in the witch's garden." Her husband waited for nightfall so he could climb over the wall to get her some of the witch's radishes. He got her some and climbed back over. She made a big radish salad, and it made her feel so much better. But she knew she wanted more radishes. So her husband snuck over the wall at night to pick more radishes. As he was climbing back over the wall, the witch was standing right below him. "How dare you steal my radishes?" said the witch. "My wife thought she would die if I did not get them for her. I am very sorry." "If this is true," said the witch, "you can have all the radishes you want, on one condition. You must promise to give me your child to raise as my own." The man was so scared he agreed to whatever she said just to get away. When the beautiful child was born, the witch came and took her away, just as she had threatened. She named her Rapunzel, which means radish. Rapunzel grew more and more beautiful every day, and on her 12th birthday, the witch locked her up in a high tower deep in the woods. The tower had no stairs, no door, only a small window. Rapunzel had beautiful long hair that had never been cut, and when the witch wanted to go up to see her, she would cry, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." The witch would climb up her hair to see her. This went on for years. One day, a prince was riding by the tower and heard Rapunzel singing. He looked at the tower but had no idea how to get in. So he left. But he came by the next day and saw the witch crying, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." And he saw the beautiful girl who sang, let down her hair for the witch to climb up to see her. The prince returned at dusk and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel could not believe it when the young prince appeared, and it was not the witch. They fell in love at first sight. They made a plan for Rapunzel to escape. The witch found this out and cut off Rapunzel's hair and hid her away far from the tower. That night, the witch waited for the prince. He cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." The witch threw out Rapunzel's hair, and he climbed up. To his surprise, it was the witch, not Rapunzel. The witch cursed him. "You will never see again." And with that, he was blind. For some time he wandered the forest, hoping to hear Rapunzel singing again. And then, one day, he heard her singing. He followed her voice and found her. They hugged and Rapunzel cried, so happy to see him again. One of her tears fell on his face, and a miracle happened. He could see again. "Oh, I am so happy to see you again," said the prince. And then another miracle happened. Rapunzel's beautiful hair grew back, as long and shiny as it had been. The prince took Rapunzel to his kingdom far away from the witch, where they lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, there was a mother pig who told her 3 little pigs it was time for them to build their own home and move out. She told them to build their homes to be safe from the big bad wolf. The first little pig bought some straw and built his house. Soon enough, a wolf came along and knocked on his door. The wolf asked, little piggy, let me come in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," answered the little pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down." And the wolf blew down the little piggy's straw house. The second little pig built a house made of sticks. Along came the wolf, who said, little piggy, let me come in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," said the little pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the wolf. The wolf blew down the stick house. The third little piggy made a house of bricks. He built a very strong house. Soon enough, along came the wolf. He knocked on the pig's door and said, little piggy, let me come in." "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," said the pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," said the wolf. So the wolf huffed and he puffed, but he could not blow down the strong brick house. The wolf sat down and wondered how he could get that nice little pig outside the brick house. Then he had an idea. "Little pig," he called, "come with me to the farmer's turnip field. It is quite full of nice turnips. I will come for you at 6 o'clock tomorrow." "Okay," said the little pig. But the clever little pig got up at 5 o'clock and went to the turnip field and gathered all the turnips he could carry. He was back home at 6 when the wolf arrived. The wolf was very angry when he realized he had been tricked, but he did not show it. He had another plan. He thought of another idea to get the pig out of his house. The wolf invited the pig to the fair and said, "We can meet and go together at 3 o'clock sharp." The pig squealed, "Oh, I love fairs. I would love to go." The little pig slipped out early to the fair and had a wonderful time, playing games and eating cotton candy. He even bought a nice new barrel to collect his rainwater. On the way home from the fair, he saw the wolf coming up to meet him. The little pig climbed into his new barrel to hide. The barrel began to roll and rolled right past the wolf. The barrel scared the wolf, and he ran all the way home. After a while, the wolf went to tell the pig about the strange barrel that was rolling right towards him. The little pig laughed and said, "It was only a barrel," the little pig told him. "I was inside the barrel." The big bad wolf did not like to be laughed at, and he was tired of the little pig's tricks. He was also very hungry. He wanted to eat the little pig. "Little pig, I am tired of your tricks. The time has come to eat you up." It had been so easy to huff and puff and blow down the straw and stick houses, but he had to figure out what to do to get into this little pig's brick house. The big bad wolf looked up and saw the chimney for the fireplace. And then he jumped up on the roof and shouted down, little piggy, down the chimney I will come to get you and eat you up." The little piggy put a huge pot of boiling water over the fire just in time. The big bad wolf jumped into the chimney and fell all the way down, right into the pot of hot water. And that was the end of the big bad wolf. Every afternoon after school, the children loved to play in a huge garden that surrounded a deserted castle. They loved to play there. One day while playing, a great voice yelled out, "What are you doing in my garden?" It seems the giant had returned back to his castle, and he did not want the children to play there. He shouted at them and told them to leave and never come back. They all ran away as fast as they could. The giant then built a huge spiked fence around his garden, so none of the children could ever get in. The giant put a large gate in the fence with a sign that said, "Keep out," in big black letters. The children would pass by and look sadly at their favorite place to play. They really missed playing in the beautiful garden. Soon fall and winter came and covered everything in snow and frost. The giant looked out his castle window at his snow-covered garden and wished for spring to come. Spring did come, everywhere except in the giant's garden. The snow and frost were thrilled to have a place to stay forever. One morning, the giant was lying awake in bed when he heard a bird singing. He leapt from his bed to look out the window. His whole garden was in spring bloom. The snow and frost were finally gone. Then he noticed all the children playing in his garden. You see, they had snuck into the garden through a hole in the wall, and spring had followed them in. One little boy was crying because he could not climb the trees like all the other children. He was just too small to reach. The giant helped the small boy to the top of the tree. The little boy gave the giant a hug and a kiss and said thank you. The giant thought it was time to let the children play in his garden, so he knocked down the big wall. The children played every day in the giant's beautiful garden. When the giant realized he had not seen the little boy he had helped to the top of the tree, he asked the other children, "Where is your little friend?" "We do not know," said the children. The giant asked the children every day if they had seen their little friend. The children told the giant, "The only day we saw him was the day you knocked down the wall." The years passed and the giant grew old and weak, and he could no longer play with the children. One cold winter morning, he was looking out the window, and he noticed the most beautiful tree he had ever seen.
Wow!
The tree was covered with delicate white blossoms with silver fruit, and beneath the tree was the little boy who had gone missing for so long. "He's come back at last," said the giant joyfully. Forgetting how old and weak he was, the giant rushed down the castle stairs and hurried across the garden. But as he neared closer towards the little boy, he saw bruises and cuts and nail marks in his hands and feet. "Who has hurt you?" asked the giant. "As old and feeble as I am, I will kill the people who have done this to you." The small child smiled gently and said, "Hush, don't be angry, but come with me." "Who are you?" whispered the giant, falling to his knees. "A long time ago, you let me play in your garden," the child replied. "Now, I want you to come and play in my garden. It is called Paradise." That afternoon, when the children came to play in the garden in the winter snow, they found their giant friend lying dead. The old giant looked so peaceful. He seemed to have a beautiful, peaceful, gentle smile on his quiet face. The giant was covered in small, beautiful white flower blossoms. The children thought he looked so happy and at rest. They said sweet prayers for him to be playing with children angels in a gorgeous paradise garden forever. The children always remembered the giant for his kind heart and generous spirit, and played in his garden forever.